Hello, my lovelies. Today's practice is for those of you that need a little love in the lower back or the hips. We'll talk a little bit about anatomy and why sometimes your lower back hurts more than others. Also give you some tips for stretching both pre and post workout. For today's practice, go ahead and grab a blanket or a towel and a block if you have one. If no block, grab a thick book or anything that will raise the ground up to you a little bit more. See you on the mat in a couple minutes. Welcome back to the mat. I want to start today by talking about anatomy just a little bit because I think it's important to realize that we all have similar anatomy, but we're all very, very different. And I say that because it's important when you're doing this type of yoga that it not hurt you. So there may be something that feels great for my body that doesn't feel great for you, but may also feel great for someone else. So I'll provide modifications along the way, but know that if you're feeling any pinching or wincing pain, that you should stop. I don't want anyone to get hurt out there. So anatomy is super interesting, especially the hip and lower back, right? So when you think about where your hips sit, think about everything that's attached to it, right? In the front, you have your quads, you have your hip flexors, you have your abs, and in the back, you have your glutes that are attached to your hamstring, and ultimately everything's connected, right? So we're going to talk about the impact of the feet and the quads and the hamstrings and how if anything is out of balance just a little bit, it can pull those hips in the wrong direction and ultimately cause lower back and sciatica. So I'm not a doctor. If you're, experiencing deep pain that you think requires, medical attention, please see a doctor. Other than that, I welcome you to yoga with me as always. So grab that blanket or towel and go ahead and lift those hips. Anytime that low back is tight, lifting the hips will help relieve some of that pressure. So start today's practice in a nice cross-legged seat here. Sit up nice and tall. Start to massage the insides of those legs here. Close your eyes. Start to notice anywhere that you might be clenching or gripping. For me, it's almost always in my calves and then on the outside of my hips here. So when I get in this position, I really try hard to release that. Press down on those knees a little bit. Start to open those hips. And roll that quad muscle out a little bit here. Start to deepen your breath. Gaze is on the floor in front of you, or eyes are closed. If you've been practicing with me for any time at all, you know that eyes closed is my favorite. I think it helps you when you lose one sense to really work on your sense of touch. Keep breathing here, settle in. All right, go ahead and bat those eyelashes open and let's start to find a little bit of movement here. So right hand, walk those fingertips out, plant the palm, and then stretch up and over here. You should feel an awesome stretch here on the side body. And on your exhale, come back through center. Same thing here, left hand goes out, right arm, big rainbow up and over. Gaze goes up to the sky. And now start to sync it with your own breath. So inhale takes you over. Exhale brings you back through center, and then inhale the other side. Move with your own breath here, not with mine. Just a couple more on each side. Beautiful. Make sure you even out your sides and then meet me back in a seated position here. Right hand comes to the left knee, left hand comes to the right knee, and roll through that upper back here. Tuck the chin. Breathe here. All right, unravel here, sit up nice and tall. We're gonna go ahead and slowly roll it up to our tabletop position. So move that blanket out of your way. And let's take the knees as wide as the mat, big toes come together, and send the butt back towards the feet here. Hands reach out, and forehead comes to the mat here. Should feel a deep stretch here in the hips and groin. And breathe, we're gonna hang out here for a second. And notice anywhere that you might be clenching here that you can release. For me, it's quads, feet, and that jaw, almost always grinding my teeth. So notice that, notice if you're doing that. Keep breathing here. These deep holds really help stretch the fascia of the body, release muscle knots. And 2 more breaths here. At the bottom of that exhale, roll it back up through tabletop here. And let's start to wake that spine up here a little. Gentle spinal flexion with cat-cow. So an inhale drops the belly, gaze goes forward. Take this nice and slow today. Exhale rounds the back. Empty everything out. And then inhale drops. Slow here, mindful movement. This little gentle motion is so good for your spine. Maybe you find a little gentle rocking motion now in either position. I like to rock side to side in my cow. And then front to back in my cat, but that's just me. This is your practice. You don't have to follow me exactly. Figure out what feels good for you. All right. Bring those knees together, curl the toes under, and then roll it up here. Stack your head over your heart, heart over your pelvis. Many of us have very, very, very tight feet, and it's one of the things that no one stretches ever. So you'll see me add it in my practices a lot, just for a few breaths to really stretch through the fascia of the feet. The feet are where all of those muscles that we talked about earlier connect. So if you have tightness in your foot, it could throw off a balance that's ultimately leading up to your lower back, even your shoulders. This is one that I recommend doing before and after any type of physical activity. 2 more breaths here. Beautiful. All right, find your way to a standing position at the front of your mat here. Feet are hip width apart today, so a little bit wider than I would normally go. And we're gonna find a forward fold here, but we're gonna find a gentle bend in the knee. So think about the belly coming to the tops of the knees here, and then the head hangs heavy. So I probably look a little bit funny. I've never actually seen myself do this, but what you should be feeling here is a stretch in the back of the hamstrings all the way up through the glutes. So remember, everything's connected, right? If this is a little bit sticky for you, this could be why you're having low back pain. One of the many reasons. It's unfortunately very common. Find a gentle rocking motion, front and back here, into the toes and then back into the heels. Just a subtle motion, and notice the difference in the stretch that you feel. Right, slowly begin to straighten those legs just as far as you can. You don't have to lock them out. And maybe you're here, and that's okay. Be wherever you are today. Again, it's not supposed to hurt. So if it's hurting, come out of it. And we're gonna inhale, bring it up to a halfway lift, flat back, and then exhale, fold. So catch a wave here and start to move with your own breath. This is all we're doing. Inhale, halfway up, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up, exhale, fold. Bend those knees again, and go a little bit deeper this time into that stretch. Head hangs heavy, hands come to the mat. Find that gentle rock here. Here for 3 more breaths. And on your next inhale, straighten those legs
And then begin to roll it up slowly, one vertebrae at a time, until you're all the way up in a standing position.
Beautiful. Mountain pose, here for a few breaths. Quads are engaged here, start to activate through the front of the body here. Tuck the belly up and in. Look for perfect alignment here, right? So your head's over your heart, heart's over your pelvis, and your hips are sitting straight, right? So you're not arching here, you're not tucking under here. Try to find that nice neutral position here. And then arms rise. Extended mountain. Imagine yourself lifting away from the mat here, like quite literally getting longer and growing. Find some space here. 2 more breaths. And at the bottom of this exhale, fold it all the way down. Plant the palms or support yourself in some way. Step the left toes back here. Knee comes to the ground, untuck. You may want a block here to lift the ground up to you a little bit, but what we want to do is sink into this right hip here, but not to the point where your knee goes over your ankle. So find this vertical alignment right here of your knee over your ankle. And then maybe you walk that left leg back here. If you want to be on the ground, you can be here, or you can bring the earth up to you. Ultimately, the goal is to feel the stretch here in this left hip flexor. If you have 2 blocks, you can use 2 blocks. I really just prefer 1. Everyone's different. Feel that stretch here. Breathe into that hip. Imagine sending your air, every inhale, directly into that hip. All right, start to slowly send it back here. So butt's coming back towards the left leg here. Heel comes up, peel the toes up towards the knee and find this half split. Maybe you want your block here. Maybe you're here. It's okay wherever you are. The goal is to feel a hamstring stretch here. This is something that's great to do before or after exercise as well. I'm a victim of eternally tight hamstrings that cause me lots of problems. Or eternally weak hamstrings that cause me lots of problems. All right, so let's begin to find a little gentle rocking motion here. Feel free to use your block if that's working for you. So on your inhale, send this back. And on your exhale, roll it back forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Last one here, exhale forward. Beautiful. All right. Option here to untuck the back toes and lift, or stay down on your knee here, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to lift because that helps me feel a better stretch here on the outside of the leg, which is ultimately the goal. You're gonna plant your left hand here, and then we're going to bow and arrow that right arm up. So it looks like this if you're lifted, looks like this if you're lowered. Neither is better than the other. Just breathe here. You should feel an awesome stretch here on the outside of the hip, even into the hamstrings and glutes. Press away from the mat here. Don't crash into that left hand. We're here for 2 more breaths. All right. Unravel. Step it back through plank here. No planking today, unless you just want to. Bring that left leg forward, and it's time for the other side. So again, find your alignment here. Make sure that your left knee is directly over your left ankle. Untuck the back toes, walk that leg back. Use your block here if you want to, but sink into the hips here. Should feel the awesome stretch in that right hip flexor now. And breathe, sit up nice and tall, gaze goes forward. Send your breath into that right hip. Go ahead and send it back now. Find that half split hamstring stretch here. Feel free to keep the block if you like. Whatever works for you. Try to stay in alignment here and not tilt over to the right hand side. So keep your hips parallel to the ground. Again, it's okay if you're just here. The goal is that you feel a stretch. So wherever you need to be to feel that stretch in the hamstring is correct for you. All right, roll it back forward and then start to find that gentle rocking motion here. So inhale brings you back. Exhale brings it forward. Inhale brings it back. And exhale forward. One more here. Inhale back. And exhale forward. All right, time to take a little twist here. So again, stay on the right knee if you want. If you want to lift that right knee, feel free to do so now. Plant the right palm here and then reach for the sky here. Pull away from your mat. Notice if this side feels different than the other. My left side is always tighter. Two more breaths here. All right, unravel, plant both of those palms and take that right foot and step it up to meet the left here. Find that generous bend in your forward fold. Rest here for a second. 2 breaths. Begin to roll it up here. Don't have to go as slowly this time. Say hello to my dog barking. All right. Find your footing on your mat here. We're going to take a quad stretch. So we also get to balance on our quad stretch. So start to wake up that left ankle. Just get it ready for balancing instead of just cranking into it like we athletes tend to do. Find a little gentle bend in that left knee and then peel that heel up towards the butt. Feel an awesome stretch here in the quads. Quad, right quad. We've been focusing a little bit on the hamstrings. We're going to flip that script now. Focus on the front of the body for just a second. So if you want to take this deeper, or if dancer is in your practice, feel free to send it out here. If not, you can stay here. It's totally up to you. Just breathe. Send that breath now down into the front of that right leg, into the quad. 3 more breaths here. All right, unravel, shake it out, and switch sides. To make sure I get my whole foot on the ground, I like to lift my toes and then place them down one by one. So try that, it might work for you. Again, don't lock out through the right knee, find a little generous bend there. Just a little bit, little buoyancy, and then find that quad stretch on the left side. Breathe here, send that breath down into that left quad. Hug the belly up and in, everything is still tight here and you're pulling away from your mat. If you want to take dancer now, if it's in your practice, feel free to take your dancer. If not, you can stay here with me in this lovely quad stretch. All right, slowly come out of it. Shake out that right foot. All right, we're gonna do a couple strength exercises now, because we often attribute our lower back pain to muscle tightness when often strength is the problem. So I want to give you some tips on things you can do that can strengthen the muscles around your hips, keep you in alignment, and then you ultimately have less pain. So one of those things that you can do is RDLs very, very slowly here. So balancing and come down to touch the ground and then lift up slowly, activate that hamstring. Switch legs here. So flat back, all the way down to touch, and up. Slowly here, folks. As slow as you can. This movement helps build strength in that hamstring rather than just stretching it. So we've warmed it up. And now, we're gonna listen to my dog bark again. Sorry. And raise it up. 1 more each side. I recommend doing these every day if you have lower back pain. I do them every day because I have knee pain. You can also grab a dumbbell or a kettlebell if you want to add weight to these. So anyway, do that, it will help. Go ahead and lower down. Another problem that a lot of people have is tightness in their hips or hip flexors, which can pull you forward and throw that back out of alignment as well. So one thing you can do to strengthen your hip flexors, pull the right knee up. Listen to the dog bark, I don't know what her deal is. Pull the toes up and then start lifting this leg here. So you're engaging through this hip flexor here. I do 10 of these on each side every day of my life. Highly recommend it. It's literally changed my life. All right, that's 5. I'm gonna switch. Pull the left leg up, pull the right toes in, sit up nice and tall here, and right leg lifts. So you'll notice that my right goes higher than my left. It tells me that I have a little bit of an imbalance there. Beautiful. One more. All right, let's counter that now. Pull the fleshy part of the butt out here. Option to lift the hips if you want. Reach up nice and tall and fold over now. Let the head hang heavy. Quads are engaged. Should feel an awesome stretch here through the back of the leg and the outside of the hips. Maybe you're here or here. Be wherever you are today, it's totally okay. Breathe. Say hello to Harley, who's having coronary in the other room. Not sure what's going on. Alright, roll it back up here. Sit up nice and tall. Alright, go ahead and roll it down to your back here. And bring those knees up. The goal here is to get your whole back, your whole spine flat on the ground. So do whatever you have to do to feel that earth on your back all the way up. Then bring your feet down to the mat and start to windshield wiper the legs here. Get your block out of the way if you're running into that like I am. And find this little rocking motion here that opens the hips. All right, just a few more here. Hug those knees up and in here really tight. Bring your nose up to your knees or in the general direction of your knees. And then send that left leg out long here. Hold just the right knee up. And you're going to take the right hand to the inside of the right knee and then pull it to the right side. Stay a little bit below that knee joint. You never want to crank directly on our knees. 2 breaths here. Feel that opening in the hip flexor. Then come back through center and send it over to the other side. So right arm comes out long here, gaze goes over your right shoulder. Feel this twist. So good for the lower back and spine and internal organs to practice twisting poses like this. Alright, roll it back up through center. Hug both knees in, pull the nose up, and then send that right leg out. Same thing, different side. Left hand comes to the inside of the left knee and open that hip towards the left. Try to keep a neutral spine here, flat on the back. Don't let that right hip lift. If it's lifting, just bring the left leg back towards center more. 2 more breaths here. And then roll it back through center. And find your twist to the other side. Gaze goes over the left shoulder this time. Try to keep that left shoulder on the earth. And smile. Have some fun. All right, roll it back through center here. Go ahead and sit it
Back up, nice and easy here.
Find your butterfly pose. You don't have to turn towards the long edge of your mat. I just wanted to look at my lovely camera here. So soles of the feet come together. Give yourself a little massage here on the insides of those feet. Again, we do not take enough care of our feet. A lot of us also sit in chairs or at desks all day long, which can be a big contributing factor in tightness in your hips. All right, clasp the hands around the feet here. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes. Start to flap those wings just a little bit, whatever feels good for you. Ultimately, you're trying to build a little bit of heat here while also opening the hips. You don't need to like take off, but just a little gentle movement here in those knees helps open the hips, wiggle them back into the place that they're supposed to be should they be out of alignment. Beautiful. Come out of that, find your nice easy position here, or easy seat. Pull the butt out, find that sit under earth connection here. And notice how you feel now. Are you clenching in different places than you were earlier? That's usually how it goes for me, but just breathe here. Final moments of today's practice. Notice anywhere that might be sticky. For the love of God, close your eyes. You don't need to be looking at me. I'm not doing any tricks or anything special. Just breathing, sitting and breathing. Into my hips, into my lower back. Bat those eyelashes open, hands come together at heart center. I hope you feel a little bit of relief today. Yeah, namaste.